very basic at Procreate. So I only know the basics. Hence, this workshop will only cover the basics of Procreate. But I figured we'd do that through this like fun little repeating pattern activity. So just to demonstrate the purpose, when you just make like a square of some kind of pattern and then you duplicate it a bunch of times, wow, it's so leggy. There's like, you can clearly see in the borders that the pattern isn't made to be repeated, right? So the purpose of this method, I guess you can say, is so that when you repeat the pattern like this, you don't get any of those funky borders. Okay. I love that it's lagging so much. So we're gonna do that. And we're starting off with this lovely cat. And I'm gonna wait as my Procreate loads. You guys can use this, like you can kind of follow along through, what is it, Autodesk? No, Sketchbook. Yes, I have been using this symmetry tool. One of the tools that I know, one of the only tools that I know. Yeah, you can do this. You can like make repeating patterns on Sketchbook, obviously, but it just won't follow like the Procreate tools as much. So I figured let's start off by, let's see, let me just delete all this stuff. By doing a side profile of this beautiful cat so that we have more elements to work with. I always like, when I try to make icons that need to be the same size as something else, I like to like draw it on top of each other so I know exactly what it's gonna look in terms of proportions. So don't come for me for my drawing, because normally I have to like erase every line.
Oh, I think your screen, did it like stop?
Oh shit, hold on. I'm gonna try to reboot it.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
Okay. Wow. Okay, this is what I have. You guys didn't miss much. Okay, so just so I know, like how familiar are the Procreate users with Procreate? Like, have you guys been using it for a while? Okay, cool. Then I guess I don't have to go over all this stuff. But for those who don't know, so I'm turning this into a reference and I'm creating a new layer. And then when you swipe towards the right on a new layer, you can like select multiple layers at once. So that's how I group and delete stuff, because it's just easier. So because this layer is a reference, any like if I use color drop, it only colors in that area because that's the reference, which is a very handy tool because I'm lazy. So let's just create, this cat needs a beard. So I'm just going to outline very quickly. Oh shit, sorry. I forget to unreference it. Okay. It's looking all right. Of course, it's missing an ear, so there's that. Okay, so now we have another basic element to add to our pattern. What do you guys think would go with this? Do you think we should add like stars or hearts or crowns? Okay, let's go with stars because I feel like fish. Okay, we'll add that if we have time. Okay, so these are two elements that we have right now. So now I'm going to just turn on my drawing guide, and I have, from my last project, I already have like a quadrant, which you can alter the drawing guide however you wish. So I'm gonna keep it with the quadrants to make some stars. And when you hold on to your color icon, it switches back to the previous color that you were using. So let me just draw some, that might be too small. Some snazzy stars. Draw some more. I'm not gonna lie, this workshop is going to be, a large portion of it is going to be me drawing a line and then realizing that I hate the line and then just erasing it. Okay, these are our two stars. How do we like them so far? What other star shapes other than the basic 5-point stars? Okay. 8-point stars. Let's see. Let me try to change it. Okay, so now that we have it on radial, it'll move some of the stars over. That's 8, right? I can count. Yeah, it is. Okay, lovely. So those are some stars. I'm just going to turn the drawing assist off. And I'm going to group these, turn that into a reference, and then just color drop. Do you guys want the beard color stars or the pink color stars? Beard. Got it. Okay, now we have beard stars. I just meant beard colored stars, so like the lime green. So now that we have some of the elements, we can start playing with the positioning of them. I'm gonna flatten every common element so that I'm flattening the stars together, and I'm going to flatten this side profile. Oh shit, before that actually. Let me just add the pupil because I realized it doesn't have that. Okay, now it's looking snazzy. I'm going to flatten this and turn off my drawing guide. Okay, so I want more of these bad boys in the pattern. Let's go with like 3 of these profiles. No, 2 of the side profiles and then 3 of this straight on. This positioning is so bad, but it'll improve, don't worry. So the important part when you're placing all the elements is that you don't get anything crossing the border. Like you don't want it touching the edge. You want it within the canvas. I'm going to move some of the stars. If there's like anything that you don't understand how it happened, like I'm assuming that the people understand like the basic selection tools and stuff, but if you don't, just tell me and then I'll explain. Right now I'm just using the selection tool just to reposition everything. Okay. Then I'm gonna merge these layers together so that all the cats are in one layer. And let's add more of these. Oh, that's terrible. Okay. Let's say I'm good with this for now, okay? So you want to group all of your elements together, and then you want to make copies of those groups. You want to make 2 new copies. I always like to save the original thing in case I made a huge miscalculation and it looks terrible, so I can go back to the original elements of positioning elements. Right now, it's just kind of, I'm positioning it randomly. And then once we start, okay, I'll explain that. I'm getting ahead of myself. For now, I'm just positioning it randomly. So I'm going to create a layer. Before that, I'm going to create a layer and just color drop the entire layer. And you want to make sure that your snapping is on, which is this bottom left icon. It doesn't really matter the distance nor the velocity. You just want to make sure that it's on for this to work. So you're going to grab your color filled layer and then one of your duplicates of the elements. So you're grabbing both of them at the same time. And then you're going to shift it over to one side. And you want to make sure the alignment is at the orange line. You see how it's orange in the middle and not blue? Because if it's blue, then it's aligned with another element in your drawing. You want it to be orange because that marks the center of your canvas. So now we're going to grab the other copy of your elements and then move this over again. So it's half. Now you can delete that and group like elements together again, and then you're going to have an empty group which you can just delete. And I'm going to flatten these layers. So basically what we just did is we split the canvas in half so that when you align all the canvases, like all of these, if you make a bunch of copies of this layer and then you align them in a row, nothing is going to get cut off randomly. You're not going to get random edges because like this star continues on this side. Make sense? Okay, lovely. So now that we have that, you can see that there's like some empty space, for example, over here. So let's draw a fish. Who was the one that suggested that? Okay, Crystal, lovely suggestion. We're gonna use drawing guide again. Let's have it, it's just a vertical. Great. I'm not really, I don't know what types of fish there are. Oh. Okay, is this fish satisfactory? Wait, it has fins. I forgot. Do fish have fins in the bottom? Or is that weird? Okay. Yes, the fish is doing duck lips. Great. And now I'm just going to rotate it. And I'm going to place these around. What color do you guys want the fish to be? The fish body? Pink? Okay. Let's do this lighter pink. I feel like we haven't used this yet. Oh, never mind. Take that back. That looks ugly. Okay, let's do that just for the fins so it stays as an accent color. Sky blue. Okay. That's not sky blue. Yeah, it's a salmon fish. This is exactly what salmon looks like. Now I'm just gonna duplicate some of them around. Okay. Okay, we still got time. What other, should we add other elements or do you think this is enough? Okay, I will assume this is enough. The top half needs more stars. Okay. Glad you brought that up. Let's move this fish down here. And then I'm selecting the star and just moving it up. You don't want to, by the way, after you've like split the canvas in half, you don't want to touch any of the elements that are being cut off because that will screw up unless you select both of them at the same time and then shift them equal amounts. Okay, I think this is good so far. Now we're just going to, I'm going to group or I'm going to merge those layers. And you want to do the exact same thing as before. We're going to make 2 copies. We're going to fill this layer, grab one of the copies, but this time you want to move it upwards because we already moved it side to side. Now you want to move it up. Is that the middle? Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to grab the other copy once again and then move that to the bottom and make sure you're lining up in the middle of the canvas and not the middle of an object. And I'm just going to delete this. So now there's like, you can see, like, I don't like how these 2 tigers are around on top of each other because when you repeat the pattern, it's going to be kind of obvious. So we're going to change that. I'm just going to, I'm going to group the like elements together again. Okay, so let's move this tiger over, which creates some open space, and the fish kind of look, the fish are too crowded, so I'm going to move some of the fish as well. Do you think we should add another tiger in the middle or something new? Palmer, I don't know what that, yeah. Okay, and another yawning one. Love that. So I'm going to select the tiger and copy and paste it, which will copy and paste into a new layer. Let's have it tilted a little bit. Okay. Tiger with drip. Okay, well, since, you know, midterms just happened, let's bring that blue color in. Yeah, you can't really see that clearly, so I'm just gonna outline it with this big fat teardrop. Added some drip. Yeah, midterms this semester was so rough. I don't know why. I feel like last semester was chill and this semester was just deadly. So basically that's the gist of how you make a repeating pattern. Now what you can do is, I'm going to move this layer up. If you drag all 3 fingers down on the screen, this thing will pop up and you can copy all, which will just copy all the layers that you have visible right now. And then if you drag down again, you can paste. So that'll just create one layer with all of your elements. So I'm going to duplicate this 4 times just to see how the repeating pattern looks. And I'm going to resize it. There are websites that you can use to see, and you can just import this photo and it'll repeat how many times that you want it to. But I don't really know what those websites are, and I'm too lazy to find them now. So, and there we have a repeating pattern. Let me turn this off. So you can kind of see, like over here, how it's kind of cut off. It means that when I moved each layer from like top half or left and right, no, it'd be top half in this case, that I like screwed up a little bit. I didn't align it perfectly in the middle. So that's just something to be careful of if you ever want to do this to create a repeating pattern. But other than that, wow. Okay, I'll end it there. Are there any questions? Oh, I guess one thing, just because I feel like I haven't taught you guys, like I feel like this was not educational. But let's say I decided, you know what, these colors are ugly, let me change it up. You can use color overlays. All of these colors are really light, so I think vivid, Jesus Christ. Vivid light or hard light will look better. Yeah, that's just something that you can play with. Normally it's on normal, which means every layer is